Chakshurang militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Tidamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachanine Nirvishesha Shunyavani Paschatyadechatanine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I thought what we could do in the time we have together, we've heard so much about Srila Prabhupada. Can you hear me at the back, by the way? Yeah? We've heard so much about Srila Prabhupada, so I thought what would be nice is that I will share something small about my relationship with Prabhupada. And then maybe if you feel confident, you can also share about your relationship with Srila Prabhupada. Because even though we may have never met Prabhupada, we may have never seen him in real life, I think probably every single one of us in this room have got some kind of relationship with Prabhupada. Because it happens. And I hear so many devotees telling me about their relationship they have with Prabhupada, and I thought it would be nice to maybe share that with one another. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
So for me personally, coming from a Western background, I was not familiar with deities at all. So I'd actually never seen a deity before in my life. So I was 20 when I met the devotees, and I'd never seen any kind of an idol, any kind of a deity, nothing. Maybe I saw like a statue of Buddha outside an airport when I went to Thailand, but that's kind of really about all I'd ever seen. So when I came to Krishna consciousness, I found it really, really hard to connect with the deities because it was a completely new concept to me. The first deity I ever saw was of Jagannath. So even more like esoteric, right? I couldn't even really make out, is that a form? What is this? It was on a Rathi Akcha when I first met the devotees, and Jagannath is there with his big eyes, but I didn't know really what it was. So, as you can imagine, it was quite hard for me to connect. And it actually took me, I would say, maybe about a year or so to actually start to feel that connection with the deities. And I was beginning to worry, like, okay, I love Krishna consciousness, I love the music, I was thinking I love the food, I love the people, but somehow I can't connect with the deity. It's just so out of my culture. Never before had I heard of this. But then what happened was, somehow, I did connect with Prabhupada. So what happened was, have any of you had the experience when you first start to come in contact with the Hare Krishna devotees and you search on YouTube? Now you can find all kinds of things, including nonsense, just beware. Google is a dangerous place. But I was fortunate and I came across these videos called Following Srila Prabhupada. And actually our Mataji, who's our temple president at the manor, she and her husband had helped collect all these films together and put together a documentary called Following Srila Prabhupada. And it's in short videos, like 20 minutes. And it followed Srila Prabhupada's journey around the world and how the Krishna conscious movement grew. And somehow, I just connected with Srila Prabhupada instantly. And I was thinking, wow, this person is so special. And that was my saving grace, because although I couldn't connect with the deities, I somehow, by Prabhupada's grace, I could connect with him. And through his lectures and through his books, I was never a reader before. I'm actually dyslexic, so reading for me is not something that comes easily, but somehow with Prabhupada's books, I found that I could, by Krishna's grace, I could read them. And I felt a connection with Prabhupada. And that was really my saving grace. And I had this one experience when I was a very, very new devotee, and they were doing a youth retreat in Leicester. And it was my first kind of like proper kirtan. There's one devotee called Agni Dev Prabhu, and he's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and he was singing. And we're in this temple room, and everyone's dancing, and I love to dance, and I was spinning and spinning and spinning around. Spinning. You know, when you're in your first ever kirtan, I don't know if you've experienced this, your first ever kind of fired up kirtan, and something you feel is very different. I've been to nightclubs, I've been to festivals, I've been to, you know, all different things, but nothing quite beat this. And I was spinning, and some could say maybe this was because I felt dizzy, or maybe because I hadn't eaten so much that day, whatever it was, but I was spinning, and Prabhupada was behind me. I was dancing in front of Prabhupada, and then I looked, Prabhupada caught my eye, and then Srila Prabhupada, it was like he came alive, like to life, as in he looked at me in the eyes, and I was like, oh, it's like a real person, like someone's alive there. So then I stopped spinning, and Prabhupada looked into my eyes, and immediately I started crying. I don't know what happened. It felt like he had actually come alive in that moment. I paid my obeisances, looked up, and it still had that feeling that he was there, still. And then a few moments went by, and he went back to being a murti. Anyway, I don't know if that was because I was spinning dancing, or if that was because, I don't know what it was, but I really felt Srila Prabhupada's presence before me in that moment. And many devotees have told me when they first walked into a temple and they've seen the murti of Srila Prabhupada, they think it's an actual person sitting there. I don't know if anyone's had that experience. So the gist of what I'm trying to say is that it was through my connection with Prabhupada came first, and then deities and Krishna came later, which is maybe different to some of you who come from more of a Hindu background, and maybe you have that relationship with deities first. But for me, it was Prabhupada first, and Krishna came after. But what I wanted to do was to open it up and see if anyone can share, and there's no need to be shy, we're all a family here, of your relationship with Prabhupada, whether it's through his books, whether it's through things you've heard. Sometimes Prabhupada comes in. Don't be surprised if Prabhupada comes in your dream, because it happens. It really, really happens quite a lot. Srila Prabhupada would appear in your dreams. But not just that, but if you would like to share anything, how you've connected, or your relationship that you have with Prabhupada. So we would be like his great-great-grandchildren, in one sense, through the parampara like that. And they say that the granddad is often even more kind and merciful to his grandchildren than he is his actual children. Right? So we are more fortunate in that way, because we're like his great-grandchildren. So of course Srila Prabhupada is going to be even more merciful to us. So would anyone like to share what you feel your relationship with Prabhupada is like, or if he's touched you in any way personally? Yes, Mataji.
I'll start, as usual.
We need someone to start. So it's good.
Well, I came in this country in September 1977.
Okay.
And we didn't have no car or anything. Whenever friends came around, they will take us. So, only place we used to go was ISKCON Temple. In 77, that was September. Okay, let's say I might not have one in September, end of year. Whilst I was there in Hammer, where I live, heard that Srila Prabhupada has passed away. So that was on 14th November 1977. See, I remember. Since then, as a family, we've been always going to ISKCON Temple.
So even though you didn't know Prabhupada, but just hearing that he had passed away somehow affected your family?
And we've been, it felt as if the manor was our second home. Mm-hmm. No family around, and just going to that manor, mostly Sundays, as a family. So, and when children were born, initiated them there. Any good, bad happened, I've been always there. So that's my story. And till today, with having a little more spiritual knowledge and all that.
So just so I understand, so it was when you heard that Prabhupada passed away, that's when you started attending the temple more regularly? Okay.
Yeah, no, because we didn't have anywhere to go. Mm. And we felt that this is our home. Mm. And because we have been brought up in a Hindu background, we like to go to a temple.
So Srila Prabhupada gave you a home.
Gave us a home, yeah. And in those days, I don't know, not many would know, it wasn't, prasadam was not easy. There was Bengali more, so the food was
tiny small things.
just, and yeah, or fruit and things like that. But still, we were not going there for prasadam, as we know.
You know, it's
carried on.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because it's a very known statement that Srila Prabhupada created a house for the whole world to live. It's everyone's home, actually, like that. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Now, I'm going to get on all of you. So, will someone tell me what's your maybe Prabhu. Oh yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then.
Go for it. I'll go next.
Mine was in the more recent years, so I guess during COVID, I'm sure everybody went through some challenging times, and for me, coming to the temple gave me some peace, and it was often good, and that gave me that. But the connection with Srila Prabhupada, like knowing how much he's written and translated, it just, like the whole movement, right? And for me, it was the scale of that struck me. So my connection was reading Swami in a Strange Land, which I would highly recommend reading. Reading it in more detail has given me that connection. I've grown up a Hindu, so I've known about Krishna and the stories and the pastimes and things, but the connection with Srila Prabhupada really came when I read Swami in a Strange Land.
And when you read that, what you felt like, oh wow, he's created this whole movement? Or
yeah, like you read it and you're like, okay, legacy, and you know, you attend lots of talks and things, but actually to sit there reading it was a different experience for me.
Should we sit in a circle? I feel like that would be better. So, okay, if the people in the chairs can stay where they are, people sitting, if you just come around, go in your circle.
Circle time.
Yeah.
This is going to open things up. Oh, am I saying
you're in the
Oh yeah, you're in the No, you can come here. You can come here for me.
Mataji, what was the name of the book? Swami in a
Strange Land.
Swami in a Strange Land, yeah.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so I came to the manor last year, May, and I had the same experience you did, but with the deities.
Yeah.
But I didn't have anything with Srila Prabhupada. And many months had passed, and then one day I saw my friend going into the temple and paying his obeisances.
Yeah.
He paid his obeisances to Srila Prabhupada first, then the deities, and then I asked him,
you in a circle for me?
Circle.
That's what happens.
You can sit in the middle if you like.
Prabhu, come now. Sorry.
So he explained to me, well actually he didn't know, actually.
So he just did it because he saw other people did it?
Yeah, and I thought, and then I was more observing, and I realized that a lot of people are doing this. So I was wondering why, and I thought, okay, I'll ask this question. But then I thought, let me start learning about
I'll just pause you there.
Prabhupada.
Has anyone else had the experience where they've seen people pay obeisance to Prabhupada in the temple before the deities and think that's a bit strange what's happening there? Or like wondered why that's
Someone asked
happening?
me the exact question yesterday. Who asked me? What somebody did.
I had that.
I'll let you share after. I just wanted to show that you're not the only one that thought that. Yeah.
So I asked my friend why he does that. He didn't have the answer.
He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, because he said because other people do it. And then I thought, okay, I'll ask my teachers, because at that time I was in the life. I thought I'd ask now. But before I even got to that, I started watching videos of Srila Prabhupada. And bearing in mind, I've been coming for maybe several months, and I knew very little. But when I started watching the videos, and I was thinking, wow, he did all this. So then, naturally, without me realizing, I went to Srila Prabhupada first. And then I was thinking, oh, you're a bad man. He did so much,
Yeah.
dealt with so much, and I didn't have to ask the question. I got it.
Naturally, wow.
I just got it. Yeah.
Wow. That's so powerful. So you felt an immediate connection with the deities
Yeah.
that you probably hadn't felt maybe before
Yeah.
with other deities, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
And even though you'd seen deities all your life,
Correct.
but with these deities, you had a special, you felt a connection, and then you wondered why people were paying obeisances to Prabhupada, and then you got your
the deities.
before the deities, and you got your own answer by researching on YouTube and seeing what Srila Prabhupada had done.
Yeah.
And then you automatically felt inspired to do that.
Yeah. That's right. Also, learning from the teachers in the courses, they would talk about them too, and it just all came together.
This is what School of Bhakti are trying so desperately to do. I don't know if you've seen the School of Bhakti volunteers. We have our School of Bhakti table in the reception, and I don't know what footfall we get every Sunday or Saturday. And do you know what they're trying to do? Please come, do a course, not so we can have your money. The manor doesn't need your money, trust me. We are thinking, please come and do a course so that you can know like what actually this is. That this is something different to maybe other temples. This isn't actually a Hindu temple. This is something even more than this. So please come and do a course and learn about who Srila Prabhupada is, what these deities are. So when you see the School of Bhakti volunteers, make sure you give them some encouragement when they're on the tirelessly there at the SB table, trying to get people to come. Last time asked you if you wanted to share something.
Okay. When I come to Krishna temple, I just straight away get connected to Krishna because that was my small age experience. I was connected to Krishna's idol first. I never seen Krishna's idol before until I'm 16. So when I come to the manor, I didn't notice at all Prabhupada at all.
Yeah,
No.
just walk past.
No. And I straight away go to Krishna and pray to Krishna and just come out. That's it. But I was looking at somebody others doing pray to him, and I was thinking why they are doing it. Why should I do a man? You know, why should I obeisance to a man? Okay, he's a founder. That's it. Okay, he's a founder. Okay, fine. But when I come to know more about through my teachers, even though I'm not convinced to give my obeisance to him with my heart, I just doing for the sake of it. Okay, they are doing. They teach me first. You come to the temple, so do the temple, the entrance first, then go to Srila Prabhupada first, then go to Krishna because that's the way they was telling me. So I was doing because of their telling, but I didn't do it with my heart. Then I come to know his history. That's attracted me. His age is what he done. It's attracted me. I don't think so. I will do. But this is it. I don't know what I will do. But the age, what he did is attracted me, and all the way come from there and build this big organization, which is why we are here. That is what I connected him.
Thank you for sharing. It's really nice to have that honesty that I think so many people probably feel.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that you were able to connect with Prabhupada over time after hearing the different accomplishments that he had done. And sorry, Mataji?
No, I'm finding it difficult to breathe. Can we have a little open? It's so stuffy.
Yeah, we can do it.
We can.
Yeah, do that, and I'll do that one.
I think mine, Prabhu, even this one is fine.
Okay, because this is broken, that's why I think they have blocked it.
That's okay, Mataji, that one from you. You know, it's interesting, Lata Mataji, you say that because one of Prabhupada's disciples had a similar question, but it wasn't about paying obeisances to him, it was about paying obeisances to the deities. And he said to Srila Prabhupada, I actually don't feel like bowing down. I just don't feel that. And he said, I don't feel like it in my heart to bow down, so then why should I? I don't want to be like fake.
Yeah.
You know what Prabhupada said? You bow down anyway. Because you bow down anyway, and then in time it will come. And that's what happens. So it's like you bowed down anyway,
Yes.
and then in time it came. So
I think there was also another, I can't remember, Shamsundar Prabhu or Prabhupada disciple. They said, if you don't bow down to me or Krishna, you will bow down to Maya, something along those lines. So it's best that you don't bow down to the Supreme Personality of Godhead like that. And then since, actually when he was growing up, his father said, there are two things you should never do in your life. Never bow down to in front of someone, and there was something else, I can't remember. And then he said, when he came to Krishna consciousness, those are the two things he did the most.
yeah. So Mike, just so you're aware, so what we're doing here is I've shared my relationship with Srila Prabhupada.
Right.
Because, you know, just because we haven't met Srila Prabhupada doesn't mean we don't have a relationship with him.
Yes.
So I shared a little bit about my relationship with Prabhupada,
Right.
and now I'm asking other people to also share their relationship with Srila Prabhupada, and that's yeah, just so you're in the loop.
I'll keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, yeah, basically.
Just say that nicely.
I just don't want to go off on a tangent. Okay, Prabhu, yes.
Yeah, in the 70s, there used to be that Hare Krishna movement, and there's people in the high street.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So they shared a booklet, and I took the book.
So when was this?
In 1970.
Okay.
Yeah, and then somebody gave me a book, Hare Krishna, they were dancing with the high street and that. And I kept that book. I used to read it now and again, but it's difficult to understand. So now 40 years, you know, I kept it there.
So you kept it where?
Under my drawer on the bed.
Okay.
I used to read it now and again. But I was interested in spiritual things and that. So then years went by, I got married and everything, and kids and all that. Then they've got a time that I have time for myself now. Then I went to the Watford Centre with my brother.
The temple.
Temple, and there was a day they were doing the sharing, not a festival, it was a festival I think, and there was paper books and people taking things and.
Sounds like maybe Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja, maybe.
Yeah, it was like outside, they were doing things outside.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went to the temple, did everything there, and then come out, walking around there. Then I met one of the persons there saying, oh, are you interested in anything? Oh, I gave my email number. I said, yeah. And then the email in there said they're doing a retreat up in Buckland's Hall. So I've been there twice. And I think it was there that Radha Govinda was there. Yeah, your husband. And then who's in Leicester? Okay, and he was there as well. And he said we were doing acting and all that drama. And I said, go be involved in that. And we started doing acting.
Oh, Guru Das Prabhu.
Guru Das, yeah. I don't know why. Yeah, he was and got us to do some play and I did my play and they all started laughing, they were really good, you know. They were enjoying it and I enjoyed myself and I'd never done drama before. And that went quite well, and then they got me to another part, and we was there a few days and that. So I went there again as well, so we did other stuff again. So then Guru Das Prabhu, he says, you should go to Mayapur. So then I thought, I had time, I went to Mayapur as well in India. Then Govinda, he was, and Sankirtana Prabhu, he was there like the guide. Then he went to Delhi, then we went to Rishikesh, we went to Mayapur, all that, and then traveling, and it really set it up really good. So we enjoyed that as well. So I saw that as well. So slowly, and I like their music, like you say, their music, that's it, yeah? Because you don't just sit there and sing, you know? You're dancing, you're moving about, and that cartel, you know, it's really enlightening, you know?
And what would you say about your relationship with Prabhupada? When did that start? Or what is your relationship with Prabhupada now?
Now it's like I just come into the movement. If there's a retreat, I would like to come to a retreat and I've been to the farm. I try to get involved that way, and to be with the group. That's my involvement. That's what I like. And the service they do. Service-wise, I haven't done much with this group, but these other groups I do like service. They do like a Saturday, go and feed the people down and out with coffee and food and all that sort of thing. So I like to do that. And then there's another group I do.
But your relationship with Prabhupada, do you feel that that's through service, or that's through being with the devotees, or what would you say? Do you have anything you'd like to say on that? But it sounds like from what you're saying to me that you appreciate so much the movement, the way, you know, the dramas, the fun, you went on this India adventure. Yeah. So I guess you're saying that all of that, you know, if it wasn't for Prabhupada, that wouldn't be there, because you're grateful in that way.
That's it. I like to be there with them, doing things and meeting people and sharing and coloring and that sort of thing. That's the relationship.
That's it, yeah.
Practical, not just his legacy.
Yes, you're connecting with his legacy, like
yeah. Maybe like a farm, doing that, a bit of drama one here, things like that. That's the involvement, practical.
It was a morning class, wasn't it, a few days ago?
Yeah.
We were saying it's practical.
Yeah, you've got to be there, help people practically. Because my work is practical things. If I repair light, as practical type of thing, you repair light and it works. With humans, you have to be practical as well. With things, you have to.
So you're engaging your practical nature in
Krishna's nature, yeah. That's what I like. That's
Thank
it.
you for
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And I've enjoyed it, and it's like a continuous. It doesn't stop. You know, once you're doing something and you're expanding. Now there's another place here I know now. You're expanding.
More friends you've made.
Yeah. And they don't forget you, especially when you drown. They don't forget.
Thank you for this. Okay, who else would like to share about what their relationship is with Srila Prabhupada? Yeah?
So obviously I come from like a Hindu background, and I don't ever, I've gone to temples, but obviously the most consistent one I've gone to is the Islam one. So I went to the manor years ago for a wedding, and then I started going to the one in Soho when I was working nearby. And I always used to think, like, when I used to walk through Leicester Square, like, there's other religious people out there preaching and shouting about their religion. Why isn't there someone shouting about our gods, or like, you know, like Krishna? And I was just like, what's going on? And then went to the Soho, and I see all of them there, and just then giving me like the Bhagavad Gita. That was my first Bhagavad Gita. So I was like, okay, is this free? And they're like, yeah, it's free. Like, donate whatever you want. I went, but how much is it? And they were like, no, like whatever you feel. And I was like, no, but how much is it? Because I'm so used to like being told. Whereas this was like whatever you can afford or whatever you want to give, you can give. And it's just like over the last few months, especially we've been coming to the Man more and going to the talk. And Prabhupada, like I didn't know who he was. So when we did come, I would be like, okay, cool. And then go straight to Krishna. And it's not until like we started hearing his stories and like what he's actually done. And I've said this to another Mataji yesterday, she's not here, but I was like, when I've gone to other temples, I didn't feel welcome. Like, I felt like people were looking at me as in like, who is she? In a kind of like, whose daughter is she kind of way. And it was, no, I don't ever remember going to any like notions. I don't remember like Prasad would be like, again, like that much. But it wasn't like a welcoming, sorry. But it wasn't like a welcoming environment, like very, like, you know how people have said it's like a home. Like, people come up to you, they smile, they say Hare Krishna, and my relationship with Prabhupada, I would say, is when I realised like, that is like a home for us and like for me, and he created that. Like, I wouldn't have had places to go during my darkest of times and also my happiest of times if it wasn't for him and coming at that age to start this movement, because I've not felt like this anywhere else, and I feel like I can make friends, I can do like read or draw or whatever I want to, but it's a welcoming place, and I'll go by myself. Whereas with other temples, I would always be like to my friends, "Are you free? Do you want to go?" Because I would just feel so uncomfortable going, but I wanted to go and pray. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's fine. So it's interesting because until you asked the question, I didn't fully connect everything to my relationship with Prabhupada. So, because I've had a relationship for many years without knowing it, it's just, which is really interesting. So, since I've been a kid, my mum's read to us like at bedtime, the Mahabharata, and stories about Krishna and different gods, but it's always been Krishna that's resonated the most. And since I've been a kid, we've come to the manor, and we have like prayers, but we've gone to different temples as well separately. But I've never had the pull and the energy and just the feeling of being at home. And yeah, since I've been a kid, when I've come to the manor, as soon as I've walked or drove through those gates, it's just something just shifts slightly. Feels like I'm in a different country almost. And yeah, like through the hardest of times, I've just gravitated. And it used to work not too far from the manor, Istanbul. And there were a couple of times I remember specifically that I left for the day, and my soul, I'd say, not my car, my soul drove me to the manor, and I just sat in the, sat there. And so I guess it was just more consistency. And then fast forward, because it's a bit of a movie, if I could place all of them in together, it's like a drama in itself. But in 2018, I kind of was in a really transitional point in my life. I guess life kind of blew up almost without, really unexpected. I was going through a really hard time. There was one Monday morning, I literally got ready, dressed up, and it was the same kind of thing. I didn't even know what I was dressing up for. Like, I got into my car, soul drives me to the manor, Monday morning. I guess I just missed the darshan, and so I've back to go in the temple room, and then one of the brothers said, "It's closed for now, because the darshan's finished, but you can go upstairs." And so I've never been upstairs, obviously, in my life, right?
So the temple darshan was
and plus, because and just rewind for a second as well, because I had a connection with Krishna before, and I have, yeah. That was the first. I guess it was like the opposite of you. And when I used to even come into the manor as a kid, sometimes you just quickly come in, do like pray, donation, out within 10 minutes sort of thing. And so I didn't even really acknowledge Prabhupada in ways when I was younger, and even in the last 10 years at times, just because it wasn't in my consciousness. Even the fact that the manor, I didn't even really know it was fully a Hare Krishna, like mandir, in a way. So even when I would see Hare Krishnas, like, because they're like, there's not many brown Hare Krishnas you see chanting and singing, I didn't make the connection even with them and the manor in a way until more recently. And this is just me being completely honest, like transparent.
So hang on, so you thought Hare Krishnas were mainly white?
Yeah. I actually genuinely did. Yeah. This is like, until
they used to be
the last few recent years. Yeah, obviously, and you had the story even this morning, right? That originally he tried to, preach to brown people and it didn't really work, and then next thing white people brought in the brown people.
They're stubborn.
Yeah, exactly. But so even when I used to come to the manor, and this is not just as a kid, probably even up to about 5-6 years ago, I wouldn't even acknowledge in my consciousness seeing all of the, like the monks and the brothers and the Matajis who are like, senior devotees in a way. And then anyway, going forward again to 2018, when I got told you can go upstairs, I walked up these stairs, and he said, "You can go in this room." And I've walked in, and obviously this is now which I know is Prabhupada's room, that he used to do all the translations, his office, right, that looks over. So I've come in, and automatically my energy shifted, and I was already doing meditation, Vedic meditation or transcendental meditation. So I came in, so I could feel, I was more conscious of that energy, and there was one other person sitting there, but we didn't acknowledge, we could just kind of gave like a head nod. I sat down for like 2 hours and I meditated, and I was meditated right directly in front of him the whole time. Yeah, the whole time. and I guess that was like almost like he caught me, you know, in that moment, because you know, again, I gravitated on there, you know, to there, and then ended up there. I could have come a little bit earlier and ended up just having a normal doshan, right? So like, and then again, that was 2018, and fast forward, so I guess we've become a little bit more consistent over like, you know, coming every month or every couple of months, or sometimes events and things like that. And I think just literally within the last 3 months, we've been coming to more doshans, and we've ended up coming at times where there's a talk, and even at times actually from 2018, when I would come, there were times when I would meditate, and that was my way of getting deeper. I would pray at home, and obviously when I come to the manor, but my meditation was a way of connecting spiritually, and now I only know until you ask the question. You know, like his statue, the picture of him, when he just looks like he's looking at you.
Yeah.
So I would sit here and he would be looking at me, and it was that grandfather energy that I would feel, you know, almost. And I'd noticed that only points in the room that I'd actually meditate was either here, looking directly at him, or on the opposite side, and then all right next to him, almost. And I wouldn't do that on the opposite side, you know, with the deities when I would meditate. And then in the last 3 months, like Priya mentioned, we came for a talk to a doshan one evening. Supposed to be there just after it started at 9. Ended up coming a little bit earlier. I thought Krishna Das came from Delhi, he was speaking, and obviously again he's a deep devotee of him, and it's just interesting that from that, then we met you guys, and we met you and Govinda Das a week later, and all these little synchronicities were just happening without me even knowing it, and now I can kind of slot these into place, and then here we are now.
So special. I love the point you were saying, how, you know, it's almost Krishna's arrangement almost, that darshan, you know, the curtains were closed, and that, you know, that is Krishna's arrangement, that you then went to Prabhupada's room and you had such a special, intimate time with Srila Prabhupada. And he is our spiritual grandfather, that is who he is. Now, can anyone tell me?
Oh, can I just share one last thing?
Okay.
To your actual question, the relationship.
Thanks.
Yeah. Your actual relationship. Yeah, because I did digress into my story. So it was funny that same moment in 2018. So obviously, especially being here the last few days and the last couple of months, hearing more about his journey has connected to me more to him more than ever, because I relate so many through my struggles, my challenges. I resonate with him, and also I realised that the man wouldn't be there without his mission, without his austerity, without his, you know, perseverance, resilience, discipline, etc. And obviously all of his devotees who have come since. And because it happened this morning and it was special, that same moment in 2018, you know, when we, after the morning Mangala thing, we did the japa, so I went to his room and we were there, right, and you said come along. It felt right, so I said I'll come along with you guys. And there was only 4 of us, and then Prabhu and some of the Mataji left. And then I opened my eyes, because I was chanting with my eyes closed, and I realised I was in the room by myself, directly opposite him, and had exactly the same kind of synchronistic moment where it started in 2018, which is just kind of like my day, and inspiring.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you shared. Thank you. So you all know Krishna, right? Yeah? You all know Krishna?
Yeah.
So who can tell me what Krishna likes the most?
Mutton.
Huh?
Mutton.
Okay. Huh? Okay, what else?
It's devotees.
What about his devotees?
Yeah, he likes his old Sangha, yeah, obviously.
What about the Sangha?
I think the feeling he used to give it to them, they wouldn't live without him. They used to run up, even though they might argue and everything, but they're still so much connected with him.
Okay. What else?
Love and devotion.
Friendship with the colleagues, that
Okay.
was one thing.
The devotion to him.
Okay, what else?
Because they talk about him.
And service.
Mataji?
Ghee.
ghee, cows, guy, yeah.
Love.
What pleases, if you all know Krishna, what pleases Krishna the most?
Praising his devotees.
Huh?
Praising his devotees.
And what else? No, he's close, huh? Serving. Okay, so the Shastra tells us that what pleases Krishna the most is not the best sandesh, is not the highest quality ghee, is not even the best garland, isn't actually in the Shastra explains what pleases Krishna the most is serving his devotees. Not even service directly to him.
No.
Das anu das anu das anu das. The servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. This is what pleases Krishna the most. So that's why we bow down to Prabhupada first. That's why we serve Prabhupada and our spiritual teachers, because they're the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. Actually, this may be hard to hear, but we actually can't approach Krishna directly. We can, but we won't get the full picture. If we approach Krishna directly, we're not going to get the full essence. If we approach Krishna through his devotees, then we get the full picture. And what makes Krishna most happy is when we serve his devotees. So the fact that we have Srila Prabhupada to serve, and whether that's serving the prasad, whether that's glorifying him, whether that's chanting, all these things, the fact that we have that, it's like our kind of back door to Krishna. It's like our back door to the spiritual world, because we have his pure devotee to serve, and who has the key to the back door. Because we can't approach Krishna on our own, we just can't do it. I mean, it will take millions of lifetimes, even then, maybe even not. But the way we can do it is by serving his devotees, and that's what makes Krishna the most happy. So I think that's why it's so powerful to have this retreat based on Prabhupada, because we're making so much spiritual progress, even just by talking about Prabhupada. And even if you feel like, I don't feel like I have that much affection for Prabhupada, I don't quite get it, I don't quite understand it, that's also okay. You don't have to have that. We all connect on our own ways, but it will come over time. But I wanted to make that point. And another point I wanted to make is that something that's helped me in my relationship with Prabhupada in my spiritual life is that when I hear about stories how Srila Prabhupada forgave his disciples for big mistakes they made. Okay, just one example. Srila Prabhupada had a sannyas disciple, and he fell down. So he had fallen from his sannyas ashram, got involved with women, drinking, whatever. He strayed off the path. And what do you think Srila Prabhupada's reaction was?
He will come back to the right path when the time is right.
Okay, yeah. And what do you think Prabhupada's reaction was when he did come back?
Welcome to the open
Yeah, literally. He said, come on my knee, hugged him. Mr. Betty cried on Prabhupada's lap. Prabhupada hugged him. There was absolutely no kind of animosity. You didn't follow the vows. No kind of like, how could you have done that? Nothing. It was like the past was the past, and he told his devotees, like, you don't bring up his past. He's back now. That's all that matters. And that was Prabhupada's. And so many mistakes, so many mistakes.
Let it go.
Let it go. Forgive. So whenever I feel like I'm being such a rascal, I've made so many mistakes, I'm not following properly, there's so many things I could be doing better. Actually, when I go to Prabhupada, I know he's if I'm sincere, then he's there. Even when I went to Mayapur on the deities, it's so beautiful there. You said, you've been to Mayapur? You've been to Mayapur? Yeah. So, I was feeling so fallen. I was like, I cannot go in front of the deities. I can't I was just feeling so bad in myself. I was like, I can't even go. But I would go in front of Prabhupada and just sit in front and be like, you're my shelter, and actually I know you will accept me as I am, And through that, then I felt, okay, I can go now. I can go in front of the deity. So, yeah, Srila Prabhupada, a point I wanted to make is that very forgiving. He would always forgive. So some of the people that are sleeping, I'm wondering if maybe they can share something.
Oh, yeah.
Mataji, okay, maybe we'll let them sleep.
Yeah.
Who would else like to share?
She's too fast.
She's up there.
It's okay.
Oh, okay, go to share.
Would you like to share? No, okay, fine. Would anyone else? Yeah? She's
So, yeah. Shall I share about Krishna or Prabhupada?
Your relationship with Prabhupada.
Okay, yes. So, as we have heard the stories about that people didn't recognize Prabhupada when they used to come to the temple. Because this temple is not the closest temple to our house. So we used to go to other temples like in South Hall. But obviously on Janmashtami we used to come here for years and years. And we always see the people are like very much devoted and obviously brahmacharis we used to see. But we never understood them properly because we were coming to a darshan, taking prasadam, being happy, enjoying the environment and go back home. But you know, in lockdown in 2020, we came on Janmashtami. It was like appointment system only. So with appointment we came. So there was not much happening. So we just decided to see whatever is there. So we went to the place where they were just asking if you want to do volunteering. So my husband decided to do volunteering. I said, okay, if you come, then I will come because this is a little bit far, so I didn't want to come on my own. He said, I will come. I said, okay, you register. I'm not going to register yet, and let's see. But when the first day he went, I said, okay, I will do darshan. When you will do volunteering, I will do something. Otherwise, I will sit in the car. It's only a couple of hours. I will do anything. So I was in the car, and then he went in and he asked Mataji. My wife is there as well, but she didn't register. Can she come? She can help as well. So they were like double-minded because she didn't register, so they didn't want. But they wanted help.
Yeah.
They wanted a volunteer. So they said, okay, bring her in and then you register, like now, today, later on. So I went in, I liked it, then he came for the volunteering again, and then I registered obviously. And as I was usually there with Madhukumari Mataji or Nisha Mataji and many other people because it was lockdown time and there were not many visitors, only all the devotees were there. So I used to talk to them about
only we were there mostly, most of the time in the mandir. There was nobody coming into temple.
They weren't allowed, right?
They weren't allowed to touch, but they were allowed to.
There was a ticket system, yeah.
They could have come.
And only 5 miles radius as well from the house. That was another problem, right? You could only travel 5 miles from your house.
I live so close by, but I'll be frank. For during COVID time, I didn't enter
I think it was a safety for them.
especially after the death of our Swami. And since then, when I heard people dropping like and young and all those.
I don't know, they made me more stronger. That said to me, we need to go to temple and give them more of a hand because I don't know if it was Prabhupada or Krishna, they were calling us, they were saying, come, we need your help, we need you to be here. So we were there, we were doing I got to do so much which I wouldn't get to do now. I do, that I come there for Wednesdays, I'm doing Seva Prasadam, everything else. So I'm doing everything all around but that was the best time. And now everybody knows me anyway. Down in temple, yeah.
So I used to talk to them, and then I just got connected to the chat sessions. I started to do everyday Gita, and before that I read Gita a couple of times properly, but didn't understand anything at all. But when I started to do on chat with other facilitators and their explanations and then question and answers, then I started to understand. And then as I kept on reading with them and my own, then I realized that what kind of knowledge Prabhupada gave us. And then I started to think he is my Shiksha Guru. So since then I have a very big respect.
Wow, thank you so much for saying that.
And
So
not just that.
through the knowledge.
Yeah.
Actually, Srila Prabhupada, anyone who comes into ISKCON, he is everyone's Shiksha guru. Like that. So he is your Shiksha guru.
One thing more, we got a present down there.
A present?
From God Ruma Prabhu.
Okay.
He gave us the full
set of Bhagavatam.
Wow.
Yeah, because we were coming, he used to be there at the COVID time as well.
Yeah.
And he was doing, and we were very much involved in everything. And we didn't ask, but he just himself said, look, I've got something for you, and that's it.
Yeah. There was another reason for that, because once when I was doing doing a Prashadam service, he just came and talked with me about what you do you read any books? And I was telling him that I read Gita with Chet, but I had the first copy of Bhagavatam with me. And when I was talking to people and they were saying Bhagavatam, then I thought, okay, I should read it as well. So I read the first one, which I had, but I didn't have any more, so I couldn't read. Then he asked me, do you read Bhagavatam? I told him that I read because I had one copy, I don't have any more. So he said, so you want to read the second one? So he gave me actually the second one, and he said, when you finish, then come and. So I just read about 4 from borrowing him. Then probably he thought that I'm very interested. So maybe someone sponsored, so there was a set and he just gave it to us.
So it sounds like your connection with Srila Prabhupada was really through the knowledge and the knowledge that he gave.
Yes.
Okay. I think we'll do something a bit different now. We're going to go around the room and I want you all to say one word in which describes Srila Prabhupada, or how you feel describes Srila Prabhupada. And you have to be listening because you can't repeat the same word that someone else has said. Can we start from
Let's start.
We're going to start from this
start.
And we're going to go this way.
Okay.
So, did you understand?
Yeah.
Yes?
It is more merciful.
Merciful.
Inspiring.
Magnanimous.
Endeavoring.
Is that a word?
I
Okay, yeah. Mataji, can you?
So fun. No, can you close it? He's trying to close it.
Okay. Endeavoring, yeah,
I think that is a word.
Yeah.
It is now.
Okay. Now, we're going to go quick fire.
Persistent.
Brave. True devotee.
2 words, but...
Fully devoted.
Obedient.
Bold.
Obedient to the spiritual master.
Bold.
Oh, no, did we have that? No. Okay.
Determined.
No, I said that.
Listen, Mataji!
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
They said persistent, I think.
He's very determined. He never gives up.
Pick one.
Oh, determined.
Okay.
Well done. I said that.
You said that! We're not listening!
No, forgiving.
Have you said? You said?
Yes, bold.
Oh, yeah.
Bold.
Servitude.
Love you.
Can you come back to me?
Funny.
Brave.
Brave.
Brave, somebody said.
Dedicated.
Yes. Kind. Selfless.
Wow.
Non-egoistic.
Non-egoistic, yeah.
Visionary.
Visionary. Nice.
Yes.
He opened doors for you.
Open doors.
For the future.
I started.
Oh, you did? No, we had that. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Supernatural.
Supernatural, yeah. Supernatural.
Spiritual.
Oh, should we go around again? There is so unlimited. Oh, nice. Yeah, you said first. Okay. I'd like to invite my husband up here. Oh no. Can you just share your relationship with Srila Prabhupada? What you
One
feel?
word.
Oh no, it can be more than one word. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. So what I would like you all to get from this is that you too can develop your relationship with Srila Prabhupada, and you can do that, of course, through his books. You can do that through lectures. If you're ever feeling a down mood, something that is really powerful is listening to Srila Prabhupada's bhajans. If you listen to the way he sings, the bhajans, it's really, all the bhajans that we sing in the temple room for the morning program, Srila Prabhupada, of course, he's the one that taught us how to do it. So there's recordings on YouTube, even SoundCloud and different things. You can listen to Srila Prabhupada chanting these mantras, and it's so, so powerful. I would also really recommend the visual. I'm a visual learner. Actually, I'm not. What's the other one where you feel? Kinesthetic. Yeah, but visual also really helps. So you can look at pictures of Srila Prabhupada, videos on YouTube. They're really good. There's a Prabhupada movie. Who's seen Hare Krishna, the mantra, the movement, and the Swami who started it all? So this is a movie. It was even in cinemas. It's really top quality. You can get it on I think Amazon. You can get it on Amazon. It's a movie all about Srila Prabhupada's life. And like how I did, you can watch the videos. Another really amazing thing you can do, if you ever have time, if you're cooking or cleaning or just have some time, is something called Srila Prabhupada Memories. So
they're all on YouTube.
They're all on YouTube, and they're so nice.
70 volumes or 80 volumes.
Yeah, there's like 70, 80 volumes, and you can hear different Prabhupada disciples sharing their memories with him, and that way you can really get the mood of Prabhupada and the way he interacted with his disciples. And of course, there's also many books that Srila Prabhupada disciples have written about their experiences. And what I also wanted to mention is that sometimes I feel, I'm so unfortunate, I was never able to meet Prabhupada. I was never able to see him. Now imagine, we're in a generation where are you coming back? Okay, you don't have to. We're in a generation where we get to have the association of Prabhupada disciples, right? Now,
for example, this morning, this Mataji.
Yeah, and even
her
experiences, the devotee that they gave class, a lot of our initiating gurus within ISKCON, and actually, you know, if Krishna blesses me with children, my children, they may not necessarily have that connection even with Prabhupada disciples.
No.
So we're actually so lucky that, you know, in 30 years' time, wow, you got to meet whoever, you know, this Prabhupada disciple, that. So we actually are so lucky that, okay, we didn't meet Prabhupada, but we have the association of his disciples, because that's not good. There's not so many left. As you can see, that most of them are in their 70s. So we don't have much longer on this planet with us. So actually, the fact that we get to be in the association of Prabhupada disciples is really special, and we should take advantage of it. And we're lucky at the manner many come. We have, you know, our temple president, who is a disciple. So yeah, we can get the taste through that. So actually, in generations to come, it will be like, wow, you were so lucky, you got to meet, you know, whichever devotee. Yes.
Sorry, I don't need to go.
Yes, go.
Yeah, sorry. Apologies, everybody.
Thank you. You didn't have to say it. Thank you. We'll be wrapping up soon anyway.
Okay, thanks.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, we haven't got so long. And we finished a bit earlier, no problem.
I just jumped in. I still can't figure out this mystery. My uncle was initiated, he was into Hare Krishna, and all my family is initiated.
So your uncle was initiated by someone in ISKCON?
Yeah,
Wow.
in Leicester. He's passed away now, and his wife is as well. And the children, but our family has always been Krishna oriented, yeah. But I just can't figure out this story though. So you know when you go to the temple, you make donations and like festival times, etc. So I make one such donation. This is when my mom was alive, and at those days they used to give you something, you know, in exchange for a donation.
Okay.
And this time there was a small Krishna idol.
Was this at the manor?
Yes, as a manner, yeah. And I looked at the idol, I only ordered one. And when he was there, I said, okay, I'll give it to my mom, My mom really likes Krishna as well, But in my heart of hearts, I said, I really want one as well. But I was being selfless, and I said, I'll give it to my mom. But when it arrived in a box like this size, there were two in it. There was one inside and there was one outside.
Wow.
The postman can't believe it. He says, I've never seen something outside. And then I opened the package with the bubble wrapped and everything. So then it was one for me and one for my mom.
Wow.
Isn't that a great miracle?
That is a miracle.
Yeah.
Actually, Krishna fulfills all desires. So you have to be careful what you desire because.
Isn't it how Krishna has to be like a purifier? Like, as you said previously, it's better to go with.
But I think what Mash is talking about, Amurti, it's not a deity. Deities have to be installed. So Amurti is different. So a deity is something that needs to be particular mantras, a ceremony has to happen, they're installed.
So it's okay for murtis to do that?
Yeah. So they're not deities, different. Yeah. Thank you, Mash, for sharing.
So it's just a miracle then, yeah? I couldn't figure
It's
out.
a miracle, yeah, it's Krishna's magic. It's mercy.
I think he must have heard the prayer from the heart.
Yeah.
I really wanted it, but I would give it to my
Yeah.
mom.
Krishna's in the heart as Paramatma. He's there in everyone's heart, so he actually hears everything.
Something that Atul Krishna Das said to me, he said, just simple 3 words, that Krishna will provide.
Krishna will provide.
So be careful what you ask.
Yeah, both sides.
I know you often hear people say Krishna willing. I was in a place called Govardhan, which is near Vrindavan, and I had the most amazing time. And I said to the devotee, the temple person there, he said, "So Kate, will you be coming back?" I said, "Yes, Maharaj, Krishna willing." And he goes, "Huh?" And he had a stick, and he hit me with the stick. And he said, "Krishna is willing." Krishna is willing. Okay. So Krishna is willing. You take 1 step close to Krishna, he takes 10 steps towards you. So Krishna is definitely willing. And yeah, Mashti, that sounds like some Krishna magic there that was happening.
I look at the notice in my temple to this date, It's so
Wow.
sweet.
So sweet. Does anyone have any questions? And then we'll wrap up. Any questions? Doesn't have to be about Prabhupada or anything that I've spoken about, but any questions in general?
I think I do basically. So one question I haven't really asked until now.
Okay.
See, we sing Mahamantra Hare Krishna Hare Rama. In very few temples, I see basically a Pratima of Rama or Ram Darbar. It's in Woodford we have.
Yeah.
I don't have it here. I don't believe we have in Central London. A lot of temples I haven't seen it. So why it is in few temples and why is it not every temple?
It's a good question actually. At the Bhaktivedanta Manor, the fact that we have Sita Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman is very rare. You're right, there isn't so many ISKCON temples, especially within the West, within Europe, that have Sita Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman. So we're really fortunate to have that. Now, Ram itself is a name of God. As in, Ram, the actual definition of Ram is reservoir of all pleasure. Okay, that's the actual definition of Ram, the reservoir of all pleasure. Now, Ram, when we're chanting Ram's name, it can also be Balaram. We have Krishna Balaram here in the temple, so there's also that aspect of it too. So we have Lord Ram, of course, which is an incarnation of Krishna, and we also have Balaram, who is an expansion of Krishna.
But Balaram, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Balaram, as per the Hindu Shastra, considered as the reincarnation of Lakshman, right? Because Ram is the 7th reincarnation of Vishnu, and Krishna, of course, came later on in that hierarchy, right?
So not exactly. So Balaram is an expansion of Krishna, and as we heard, was it in yesterday's class? Or I don't remember which class it was. No, it was just today only. That actually all expansions come from Krishna, cowherd boy Krishna. And with Krishna it's always Balaram, right? So actually all incarnations come from this cowherd boy Krishna. And when we chant, we heard it was this morning, and when we chant Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, we're invocating that name of God, which means all pleasure giving. It can be referred to as in Ram, not from Ram Hanuman, or it can be referred to as Balaram also, which is an expansion of Krishna, like that. I hope that helps. You have another?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Indulge a little bit more.
Yeah. But you're right. We're very lucky to have Lord Ram in our temple. Yeah. In?
About Lord
Ram, yeah.
Manor. In Manor, there was not many people used to come, and this is in 1980s.
Yeah.
Not many people came, and then there was this sannyasi. His name was my Guru Maharaj. His Holiness Krishnadas Swami Maharaj, and he suggested if we have Lord Ram here, a lot of Indian people will come.
Exactly.
And that is when they picked it up. And that's when he installed.
Yeah, in the beginning it was only Christian.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, that was, like that rings a bell when we used to go that idols were not there.
Shivran Maharaj was also involved in this as well.
So Mataji, what you're saying is that when Sita Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman were installed, the intention was actually, we want to attract more of the Indian community.
The Hindu community were more into
Lord Ram. Yeah. I don't know, Patti, no, you're out of it, okay.
Afterwards, yeah.
Wasn't it done one of those emotions actors in the manor? Wasn't the Rama Prasita, wasn't that donated by someone?
I'm not sure.
I think it was on WhatsApp, and then he passed it, and he was the one that actually gave those deities to the temple.
Okay. And also, just to add to your point, Prabhu, when we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we understand that Krishna's name and his form are non-different. Also, so even if Lord Ram isn't there in a temple, when we chant his names, it's like Krishna is non-different.
I mean, chanting one name is enough. You are invoking all 33 crore Devi Devtas of India, of Hinduism. That's fine. I just wanted to understand. So we talk about it all the time, but then you don't see those patimas in the temple. So I thought I'd ask.
Yeah.
Why is it that Hindus connect more to Lord Ram compared to Krishna?
Is it cultural? You can maybe tell me more. Cultural?
In India, it was always Srila.
My understanding is there are a lot of translations on Ramayana in
Right.
each and every language.
And there's a big movie sequence, right, that was on, they displayed it in
especially in South India, there are so many saints who came and wrote songs, and the whole Carnatic music is based on Ram, past tense. So because of that, I think Ram, in South India, there are so many Ram temples.
Even in South India, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was doing his travel, that's why he was singing Krishna, 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 and then he was bringing Ram as well.
And I think also the Ramayana, if we think about it, it's also quite a, when Lord Ram came as a king, and then it's a story that a lot of people can really relate to, and Lord Ram's activities, and it's very, all of Krishna's pastimes are attractive, but it's very attractive, what Lord Ram did, and I think my understanding, you could maybe tell me better, is that it's quite, everyone in India knows about Ramayana, right? I've actually been to Ayodhya and had a really amazing experience there.
No, but it's a good question, because just the mantra, it has the Ram meaning, isn't it? It's the association with it. And I did wonder why is Rama there, when we talk about Krishna,
I think I always believe, I don't believe, I think we are going to differentiate between them. I think we believe we are treating them as one. They both are the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, the ultimate Pita.
All of the incarnation of Krishna.
Vishnu?
No.
Okay.
So just to clarify, I'll just clarify this one. Yeah, so just to clarify. Okay, so we have, I didn't really want to get into this, it's not my forte. but in essence, and I know. So in essence, what I'd like to say is that according to our Bhagavatam, according to our Shastra, that actually Krishna, as the cowherd boy that we see on the altar of Krishna and Balaram, Krishna is the source of all other incarnations, including Vishnu. So even Vishnu comes from that Krishna. Okay, so maybe digest that. But according to Krishna consciousness, pardon?
It depends on what you're reading. If you're reading Bhagavatam, that's exactly what you will get. But it depends on other scriptures. If you read them, they will tell you Vishnu is what is the main god.
I think it depends on how you interpret the Sanskrit. It depends on how you interpret the Sanskrit. I think most of the Shastra will allude to Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all other incarnations of Krishna come through that incarnation. So it depends on who's been interpreting the Sanskrit and in what context are you reading it also. And that's why we need a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada and previous acharyas to be able to explain this science of how it actually works. And then not only did he just say that, but he also explains why is it that Krishna, this cowherd boy, is the supreme? How is it that they've all come from him? And Prabhupada actually goes into scientific detail about how that has happened. And this Brahma, Mahesh and Vishnu, we understand that Lord Brahma's creation, right, Lord Shiva's destruction, and Vishnu's the maintenance, but that's their universal post that they have. Now who's directing those universal posts is Krishna. So that's all explained there. But to address your point, we understand that Krishna has unlimited names and unlimited pastimes also. And when we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, like you said before, we're invoking all of that. We're invoking all of that. And Lord, when we chant Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, like I said, Ram means the reservoir of all pleasure. We can refer that to Lord Ram. We can even refer that to Balaram, okay, who is Krishna's expansion, like that. I hope that clears up a little bit.
Yeah, we did Gita in Life course recently. That's why fresh knowledge. There are some verses which says that Shiv and Brahma, they are coming out of me, and Sri Krishna, he is the creator of everything. So that's where he is the supreme, from where everything started.
Yeah.
So I mean that's what I read, but I'm also not able to digest yet, which is new.
Yeah.
That we used to, as Hinduism, we say Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. We used to consider as the central pillar points. So now I'm getting to this new understanding and
yeah.
See, I mean, so okay.
on
that very point, if we have time, don't know how. Are you okay for time?
I'm fine.
Okay. See, so the theory goes this way: there's a Param Paramatma, and he is creating the multitudes of universe. There's like unlimited universe. Each universe has their own Brahma, Vishnu, Mataji. Now, this Parampita Paramatma, the ultimate idol, I think ISKCON we call them, give him the name of Krishna. What I'm
Say that again?
We are giving the name that Paramatma, the ultimate idol of everything, Krishna. Okay, so for us, Krishna is that Paramatma who is creating this multiple of the universe, and then he's also creating Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and allocating one Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh for each of the universe. Where another philosophy will say that unlimited idol does not have any shape, does not have any form. It's Nirakar. So you can give him in any form you like, and he will present himself in that form. Whether it's very difficult.
Okay, so that's a really good point. Just on that point, that's the philosophy that Srila Prabhupada came to make sure that people weren't misled. In that, the more impersonal, the Mayavadi, that you can give that post whatever name you want. He came to say, no, please don't be offensive, this is Krishna.
It's easy if you give one name, one shape, you are going in one direction, speaking one language, it will be less fights. Because everyone is speaking one language. Less confusion. So
and it's the truth.
No, it's truth, absolutely. Believe in it is the truth. Everything you believe is the truth.
Buddy, come in here. Even despite the hay fever, this needs addressing.
So, okay. Who's seen...
Why did I get into the topic of this? I wanted to talk about Prabhupada's relationship. Why did I get into this?
Okay, who's seen all the Harry Potter movies?
Sorry?
You have, right?
Most of us.
Okay, now the thing is, if I just watch Harry Potter Part 6, okay, without watching any of the previous ones or any of the future ones, how much of it do you think I'll understand? I won't get the gist of the story, right? And I might actually watch Part 6 and think, this guy is a villain, when actually it's somebody else, right? Because I'm just watching one part of the movie. So the Shastras that we read are a little bit like that. So, like you mentioned, that depends which book you're reading. So it is a little bit like that. If you read the Shiv Puran, it'll say something like Lord Shiva is the highest. And it has to, because it's not going to say something like, well, actually Krishna is the highest, but you know, you just worship Lord Shiva anyway. That doesn't work. So it will tell you Lord Shiva is the highest. If you read the Vishnu Puran, it will tell you Vishnu is the best. Okay? If you read different Puranas, they'll all tell you different things. And there is a reason for that. The reason for that is that the aim of the Vedas is to give the truth, but also at the same time, to some degree, encourage anybody and everybody to worship and start their spiritual journey. That is the goal of the Vedas. Like in a lot of religions, if you read like, you know, the Bible or something else, it's only one thing. But the Vedas is not one thing. And the goal is to not share the absolute topmost truth. That is not the goal of the Vedas. The goal of the Vedas is wherever you are, because we all have a different nature, we're all attracted to different things. If you go to a shop, okay, and there's different types of perfumes, you'll all pick a different one because you have a different liking. That's why they have so many different perfumes. So at least get some perfume so you stop smelling. Okay? That's the goal. So the Vedas are also like that. So what they will say is, start some form of worship. So the goal is to progress somebody. But if I want to understand the full Harry Potter series, I have to watch all of them, right? We haven't got time for that. These Vedas are so big. So if you want to understand the philosophy in the Vedas and get to the ultimate conclusion, instead of reading this book and thinking this is the highest, this book and reading this is the highest, then you have to read the whole thing in context, and then you understand it. Just like if you read chapter 14 of the Bhagavad Gita without reading any of the previous ones or the later ones, you'll only get one understanding from it. So to get the whole thing, you have to read all of them and understand it in context. And that's why you get what is called the parampara, which is learning from a spiritual teacher. And there are teachers in the past who have read them and compiled them into a definite set of teachings which gives you the summary of all the Vedas and everything that is to be read. So if you want to really understand, you have to understand it in the parampara. Otherwise everybody will take one bit and think, I'll take this, and it's like a Sainsbury's pick and mix, you know, I'll take a little bit of this, I'll take a little bit of this. And that's why in Hinduism especially, because the Vedas give so many options, in everybody's house you'll find a little bit of everybody. It's like a Sainsbury's sweet pick and mix corner. You know, you'll find a Ganesh, you'll find a Brahma, just in case one of them is the highest, you know, so let's have them all there. It's that kind of thing goes on. Now that is okay, it's not a problem, because you're doing a little bit of everything. But if you want the real thing, you have to read all of them and understand them in context from a spiritual teacher who has learned it from his teacher, who has learned it from his teacher, and that disciplic succession goes all the way back to God. That's when you really understand it, like Krishna explained it to Arjuna. So, coming to your question, you are right that there is a Vishnu, there is a Brahma, and there is a Shiva in every universe. And there's literally millions and millions of universes. So another context to it is also when you read a certain Purana, it means all these universes also have different Puranas. Okay, and all these universes also have their own stuff going on. So when the Puranas and things talk about who's the highest and who's the topmost, they're talking about a certain universe. And in this universe, there is Vishnu, there is a Shiva, and there is a Brahma. Some will also say that, you know, Durga is the highest because she is the controller of the world. Brahma is the creator of the universe, Vishnu is the maintainer, that is true, and Shiva is the destroyer, that is also true, okay, for this universe. But the reason, and these Puranas are also of three different types, okay, if you want to really get into the technicalities of things, everything in this world is in the mode of Krishna explains, is in either sattva, rajas or tamas. Everything. People, the food you eat, the type of activity you do, everything is influenced by sattva, rajas and tamas. Interestingly, the Vedas say that even the Puranas are in the mode of sattva, rajas and tamas. So again, it depends which Purana you're reading as well. Because some Puranas will also tell you that, tamasic Puranas, where all the tantras are there, and there's like, so somebody who reads that will think that is the highest.
Especially the red ones, after people depart, they actually fall in that category.
Yeah, and there are some really gross things as well in some Puranas, which we won't talk about. But then, they'll do these things, like when, you kill this animal and you take the blood and you put it in the skull of a human and then you drink it. And for him, that's the highest. But for somebody else looking at them, they're like, what's he doing? It doesn't make sense. So there you can't say, okay, well, that's the highest for you, great, you do that. But it's not like that, because even in the Puranas, there is sort of a hierarchy between sattva, rajas and tamas. So generally, when we learn things in context, we refer to the sattvic Puranas. Okay?
So altogether there's 18 Puranas.
No, there's even more than that. But the 18 main ones, there are 18 main ones.
The 6 one is sattva, the other 6 one is raja, and
Yeah.
the other one tamas. It's like that.
There's like that. There's 18 main ones, but then there's different types. So again, you have to read all of them and understand it in context. Just like all the movies in a series, you have to understand it in context. So yes, so in every universe there's a Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva looking after things. But you go beyond it, it says there are actually 3 Vishnus. Okay, there is a Vishnu called Karanano Vakshai Vishnu, who is called Mahavishnu, and he is a Vishnu who is sleeping, and from his pores all the universes are emanating. Then what that Vishnu does, he goes inside each and every universe, and from his navel comes a stem of lotus on which Brahma is born. That's why you always see Brahma on a lotus. So that Vishnu is called Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and they're in each and every universe. Okay? And then from that Vishnu comes another Vishnu called a Kshirodakshai Vishnu, who we call the Paramatma, who enters into each and every living entity. So there are unlimited number of Paramatmas. Okay? Now when you talk about Vishnu, which Vishnu are you talking about? So if you're going to get technical, let's get technical. Are you talking about the Paramatma? Or are you talking about Garbhodakshai Vishnu? Or are you talking about the Karananu Vakshai Vishnu? Okay, from whom all the universes are coming. Now this Karananu Vakshai Vishnu, where does he come from? Okay, where does he come from? So in the Vedas that is also explained, that he is an expansion of somebody called Sankarshan. Okay? And Sankarshan is, you would have seen him, he's like this massive snake. Okay, he's like, the snake that, you'd see in Krishna's pastime. Shesha, yeah. So Shesha is a form of Sankarshan. But Sankarshan is a snake who is outside all of these universes holding them up on his hoods. Okay, that's Sankarshan. Where does Sankarshan come from? So you go back, it says Sankarshan comes from someone called Narayan. Okay? So, and then you go back and it says Narayan actually comes from Balaram, because the qualities of Balaram are there in both Sankarshan and Narayan. Because Balaram is like Vishnu, but at the same time, that's why you'll always see Balaram with the snake. Okay, Sankarshan. And Balaram and Krishna, so Balaram is said to be the first expansion of Krishna, okay, from whom everything else comes. So usually, when all the incarnations come to this planet, like, Narasimha, or Lord Ram, we're coming in 5 minutes. When you get Narasimha, or Ram, or you get, Varaha, or whoever you get. So all these incarnations, it is said, come from Kshirodakshai Vishnu, who is the Paramatma. So you are right, that Paramatma incarnations come. But when Krishna comes, he doesn't come through Vishnu, because Krishna is already there. It doesn't make sense for Krishna. It's like you got this door, right? So whoever walks in, you'll see them walking through this door. So that door is like Kshirodakshai Vishnu. So everybody, all incarnations walk through that door. But Krishna is already there originally. So when Krishna comes, he comes straight away. That's why they said, Ete Chamsa Kalapumsa, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Hridayanti Yugai. So it explains where Krishna is explained. It says Ete Chamsa Kalapumsa. So it means Amsha, means an incarnation. And Kala means an incarnation of an incarnation. So it's saying all these incarnations and incarnations of incarnations, all are coming from Vishnu, but Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. But Krishna is not one of those. He is coming directly. He comes through Vishnu, but he's already existing before Vishnu exists. Okay? And Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Hridayanti Yuge Yuge. So he comes in every age to destroy all the enemies of Indra, as in all the demons, like that. So that is your whole hierarchy of how it all happens. So when we read something, we read one thing, and if you read it all together in context, you will understand that there is only one philosophy. There's not 100 different philosophy for 100 different people. Those 100 different things are just different paths to help people to progress a little bit. But when you go up, when you go up, when you go up, when you go up like that, it all meets at one point. And that full philosophy is explained in the Bhagavatam. So that's how everything functions.
And also, just another one, I don't think I was satisfied with his question when he said that there's, we have Lord Ram deities at the manor. Yeah. We're always chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Yeah. Why is it that in other ISKCON temples there aren't deities of Ram?
Yeah. So basically, Prabhupada said that you should install whatever deity is local for the local people. Right? That's why I think somebody also you mentioned also that Krishnadas Maharaj said, and it was installed by Jayatitha Prabhu and stuff. So it's like that. So because Ram is popular among Gujarati people and Indian people in general, they installed Ram. But in other places they have Narasimha. If you go to South India, there's Ram, but there's also a lot of Narasimha deities. If you go to Ahobilam where Narasimha Deva appeared, there's a lot of Narasimha. There's a lot of Ananta and Vishnu lying if you go to Sri Ranga, many places. So whatever the local affinity is, you install that deity because that will attract the local people and that way they will progress. If I put Jesus at Bhaktivedanta Mana, you're not going to get all the Indians come because they don't. But if you put Jesus in the church, then Christians will go there. You see what my point? So the Vedas also recommend that whatever is the local affinity of the people.
But you wouldn't install Jesus anyway because that is very different type of discussion to that, right?
Yeah.
So that
was just an
fit
example.
in the exactly.
Yeah. So it's like that. So you get different deities.
Yes.
So like sometimes there will be like a Hanuman temple.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is because people like Hanuman. So it doesn't mean Hanuman is the topmost. But it just means, for them, when they worship Hanuman, it will help them make progress in spiritual life. And when you make progress and grow spiritually, then you open up to understanding even higher things. So a lot of people I know who are devotees of Krishna came from initially being worshippers of Lord Shiva, being devotees of Hanuman. Like so many devotees you speak to will say that it was actually Lord Shiva that led me to the Hare Krishna temple. Sometimes they'll tell you that. So for you, so like that.
Kishori is asking, why is Ram's name in the Mahamantra?
So that Ram can mean different things, again, you see. So the mantra is also like that. So the Ram can mean Lord Ram. Okay. Ram is also a name of Balaram. Okay, because when in Krishna's, if you read the Bhagavatam, then Rohini used to call Balaram as Ram.
See, when he said that people believe, and I say
and Krishna's name is also Ram because the word Ram means the reservoir or the source of all pleasure. So you take your pick, but it's okay because even if you think of Ram, you'll still make spiritual progress. If you think of Balaram, if you like him, you'll make spiritual progress. But somebody who's a devotee of Krishna will see that Hare Krishna is also referring to Krishna and Hare Ram is also referring to Krishna because Krishna is also the source of pleasure, like that. So that's why it's there. So there's different meanings in the same mantra. So it doesn't matter. Even if you don't know, in the Shastra it is even said that even if you say it jokingly, like it's said that even if, like sometimes, during Lord Chaitanya's times, when they would chant the mantra, there's all these Muslims, and they would say it is haram. Haram. Okay, they would say haram. So it is said that even if they say haram because it's got hare in it, that still makes spiritual progress.
What if people say, can I have some Harry Bowls from the shop?
Yeah, when people say I want some Harry Bowls from the shop, they still make spiritual progress because the potency is invested in the mantra, like that.
Okay, can I ask you, sorry, go back to my original question.
One of the practice to go
okay,
maybe
fine.
last question.
No, that's fine.
Last question.
I'll answer it in I'll do a quick
No,
fire.
it won't be quick, I know.
No, he can make it quick. Trust me, he can make it quick.
I can
Ask
make
the
it quick,
question.
trust me.
Okay. No, I'm sure you will, and you can. So, see, we have until now in the Hinduism, we said that Anant, Bharma, Parampita, the Prabhu, the adobe of everything. We haven't given him a name until today.
Yeah.
The reason for that is that means you can think of anyone and meditate towards that god, that demigod, and you will reach to that unlimited adobe.
Yeah.
Why are we giving him a name now?
So in general, in Vedic philosophy, there are two schools of thought. Okay? One school of thought is propagated by Shankaracharya, and it's called the impersonalist school of thought. So that school of thought assumes that God is impersonal, there is no form, God is energy, and that energy takes on a certain form, and that form manifests in many different ways.
Lord Krishna says that in Gita ji, right?
He doesn't know. No, in Gita it's not there. It's not there in the Gita. But where you will find it in the Gita is when a commentator who follows the impersonalist school of thought would have translated the Gita and given his interpretation because he is the follower of that school of thought. But Krishna in the Gita itself, if you read the verses, he never says that.
He says Nirakana.
Huh? But that he's saying that is the translation by someone.
When you see that's translation of somebody who follows the impersonalist school of thought, he'll translate it like that. But Krishna himself doesn't say that. He says worship. He says Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. He says worship me. He doesn't say worship the formless me.
But he is educating Arjun on the battlefield. So he's saying, I am Arjun, just listen to me. If you don't listen to me, you're going to lose the battle.
Exactly.
You're going to fall from your dharma, right?
Yes.
That was the situation. He had to motivate him.
No, but that is your understanding.
Right.
But that's not what Krishna says.
Okay.
Okay. Krishna says worship me. It's simple.
Yeah.
You don't
And
have
that's
to
why,
make it
just
more.
to interrupt, Prabhupada, the reason why he translated it Bhagavad Gita as it is for that exact reason, because he's literally doing it as it is. He's not bringing his own thing. It's just the direct translation from the Sanskrit as it is.
Like that. So there is one school of thought which is impersonal, which comes from Shankaracharya, and then there's another school of thought which is a personal school, which talks about God is a person. Okay, so it's not that you're giving him a name. If you look at it logically, if God is unlimited, then God should have unlimited names, right? So he's unlimited names. So you're not giving him a name. He already has those names.
Yep.
You're just recognizing them.
Yep.
Another thing is also to say that God doesn't have a form means you are saying that I am better than God or bigger than God. Because how can you have something that God doesn't have? Because you have a form. Like, for example, let me give you an example. If I say I'm hungry, okay, and I really want to buy something from the shop, can you give me 20 pounds? You can only give me 20 pounds if you have 20 pounds or more. Otherwise, you can't give it to me. So right? So the very fact that you have a form means God has a form. Otherwise, he couldn't have given you something that he doesn't have. Do you understand? So when it comes to God, you can't say that God can't do this. God has everything and more. So yes, there is an impersonal form of God as well, which is called Brahman, or some people call it Brahma Jyoti. But there is a personal form of God as well. It is not that we're giving him a form. He already has a form. It is a personal form because God has everything you have. Otherwise it makes you better than God. So it's just which school of thought you follow. But the understanding is that they're both there. Yes, God is impersonal, but yes, God is also personal. So there are two schools of thought like that.
That explains quite a bit.
The go to 12th chapter Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna asked this question in the first verse, 12th chapter. Krishna answers in the next two verses that don't worship impersonal. Go only personal. Clearly answered in 12th chapter Bhagavad Gita.
See, the thing is also like with impersonal, if you worship the impersonal absolute, the Gita says that you will develop what is called jnana, and the process is called jnana yoga. That's why people who are in the impersonal school of thought coming from Shankaracharya, their emphasis of their practice is usually philosophy, philosophical debate and renunciation, because that's what jnana tells you. It tells you that this world is an attachment and you have to give it up and reduce your attachment, like that. So the impersonal school of thought would usually lead to jnana yoga and renunciation. That's what it is. Whereas the personal school of thought would usually lead to bhakti yoga and attachment, but attachment to Krishna, like that. And generally it is said that bhakti yoga is a bit more, it's more fun. It's because you're
Easy
dealing with
to
it's very
easy to
personal,
relate to,
it's
yeah.
easy, it's personal,
Yeah.
you develop love, and it's full of rasa.
Yeah.
When you have a personal relationship, there is rasa.
Yeah.
But when you're giving things up, there is no rasa. So even though philosophically, you may say that they are similar, Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, but in terms of rasa, Bhakti Yoga is greater because in giving up and renunciation in Jnana Yoga, you can't have a very personal, loving...
You miss the sweetness.
You miss the sweetness. So philosophically, yes, they're the same. But in terms of rasa, they said Bhakti Yoga is higher. That's why Krishna says in chapter 12, because in Bhakti Yoga, he says, like you said, that he says, no, don't do it in person, you worship me. Because when you do that, you'll experience the rasa of bhakti. And we all want rasa, right? Like, you can eat khichdi every day, and it'll still nourish your body and you'll survive. But, you know, if you have cake one day, and you have pickle one day, and then you have like cheesecake one day, it'll also nourish you, but it's more sweet. So both things will nourish you. So philosophically, they're okay. You're not doing anything wrong. But with bhakti, there is rasa, and it gives you that. Because like that.
It's easier, you can like the masses here.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
It's satisfied. Bhakti satisfies the heart.
Otherwise, you'll give up and you'll give up and you'll give up and you become hard-hearted. But he said that bhakti makes you soft-hearted.
So Bhakti Yoga makes your heart soft like butter, so that Krishna will reside there in your heart.
Okay, Nishkintan, are we ready for drama practice?
Thank you, Hare Krishna.